Hi, Gina.
Hi, Rico.
Hi, everybody in chat. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Let's do our normal. Gina and I are not going to be looking at the chat at all for the whole first part of the show. So if you've got questions or you're saying hi, whatever, save all that stuff for the second half, and then you guys get to ask all the questions you want. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming in. I do want to shout out real quick. I see Mike's here. Mike, it was really good to see you on Friday night. I'm glad that you're out of the hospital and you look like you're doing okay. I read what you said about the, the home health visit and stuff, but I'm rooting for you, man. I hope everything turns out good. So now I'm going to close the chat. Oh, Gina, before we get started.
Yes.
The last 2 weeks, I've been really trying to perfect a duck call. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I've been getting really good. It's that time of the year, right? It's hunting season. It's that time of the year. And I think I've got it, and I want to unveil it tonight. And I think I got the hand gestures. Everything is just right. So
let's do it.
Before we get started, hopefully it picks it up on here. So, all right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, duck, come here.
It's perfect.
Sound good?
You're gonna get all the ducks. Oh my God. You're gonna have so many ducks. You're gonna have to sell them.
Sorry. Dad joke. Okay.
You actually looked like you were gearing up to actually try. I was even like, okay, don't look at the camera. Don't make them nervous. You got me. You got me.
Okay. All right. Let's jump into it. Okay. So Gina,
yes.
Let's see. You live in Ohio.
No,
St. Louis. Why did I think Ohio?
Yes.
That was crazy. I knew that. St. Louis. I knew
St. Louis. Yes. Born and raised.
You live in St. Louis proper in the city or?
No, St. Louis County. So on like the outer rim of St. Louis. Yeah.
Okay.
So we still consider, I mean, it's like literally 20 minutes from my house to go downtown.
So just a suburb of St. Louis.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I'm born and raised. Yeah.
Go ahead. You were going to say something else.
I'm in like the northern county of St. Louis.
Okay. So not too far from Chicago.
Like 5 hours.
Yeah, not super far.
Yeah.
But you didn't get to go to Aquatics this last time.
No, because my sister was getting married and she didn't move the wedding like I told her she should. She just looked at me like I had 3 heads.
So rude.
I know.
Selfish.
That's what everybody says too. I know.
She's gonna have plenty more of them. I mean, it's not like.
No, I think she's done. Her and her now husband have been together for a long time. They're kind of like me and Nathan. We're engaged forever. Because there's just no rush. Because marriage isn't a Band-Aid. There's no reason to rush it. It's not something that's gonna enhance the relationship. Your relationship's your relationship. Like marriage is just a bonus thing.
There's some benefits with taxes and
yeah,
but they're not huge these days. So I get it.
No, so and we'll kind of get into that too a little bit later whenever I bring up some stuff.
Okay. You've never lived anywhere else other than Missouri?
Correct. Yep.
And have you done any real traveling around the world, United States, anything? Have you traveled a lot?
Yeah, so I was in marching band in high school, and we did a lot of competitions. So we went to like Indianapolis, Indiana. We actually marched in the Rose Parade my sophomore year. So we went to LA. Yep. We went, various places. The big ones that stand out were Indianapolis and LA. It was a lot of fun.
Band camp, American Pie is totally ruined. All I can think of is the trumpet. Woo!
What's funny is I think that movie came out right around the time I was in band. So yeah, I've heard it my whole band career. Ever since. Yeah. Also, I quit band at the end of my sophomore year, and I did the German exchange program. So I actually lived in Germany for 6 weeks on the exchange program. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. We went to Stuttgart. Oh my God. I really wish we had public transportation like how Europe does. Like, oh
Yeah.
my God. It was so nice. So nice. So much
There's
easier.
there's a lot we could learn. I mean, it goes both ways. I'm not saying,
Yeah.
anybody's better, but when it comes to that kind of stuff, yeah, infrastructure, yeah, definitely,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Yeah.
And
It was
my
the first
when
time
I
I
was
got
in,
drunk in Germany was the
yeah,
first time I got drunk because I don't remember if I was 16 or 17. I think I was 17. So I technically had access to beer because you have legal drinking age for beer is 16. But my German exchange student had older friends who were 18, so we had vodka. Um, so yeah, it was my first time getting drunk. I might have
nice.
gotten sick on the subway.
Oh,
It was when we were coming back. When we were coming back, I think I was sitting backwards on the train, so I think I was just getting motion sick.
oh,
So
gotcha.
yeah.
Making memories, puking on the.
Hmm.
What do they call it? What is the train called? What's it?
Um,
Zutenheisenfapper.
the U-Bahn, I think.
U-Bahn.
U-Bahn. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so making memories on the U-Bahn.
Yep.
Now, did that exchange student also come over here then for 5 weeks as well?
Yeah. So she came here first. And then she stayed. I gave up my bedroom, and she slept in my bedroom. I slept on the couch for 5 weeks, which was fine. One really funny thing that happened was so we growing up, I lived in Fenton, which is actually in South County, St. Louis. We, it was kind of further out in my school district, so I didn't have a whole lot of friends near me to go visit and stuff. And my dad worked all the time, so he couldn't really drive us to go see attractions too often. So a lot of time, like on the weekends, was around the house. She liked to go in the backyard and lay on the trampoline and read books, and sunbathe and stuff. Well, I think it was the first week after doing that, first couple of days, she came back in. She's like, Gina, I actually got sunburnt. Your sun is stronger here. I think your ozone is thinner. I'm like, yeah, probably. Probably.
Or it could have something to do with the fact that we're much farther south than Germany is.
Yeah.
It's pretty far up there too.
Yep. Oh, yeah. That was a huge thing. Yeah, the sun wouldn't set till like 9 p.m. there whenever I was there. Like, people would be going out at 8 p.m. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's 8. Isn't it supposed to be night soon? They're like, no, it doesn't get it, nighttime till like 9:30, 10. And I was like,
Oh, gotcha.
What?
Now, what was your favorite part about being in Germany?
Oh,
Absolute
gosh.
favorite thing about the whole place.
Touring the castles was really cool. Oh my God, the food. So you know how we have like hot dog stands and ice cream stand, like Dippin' Dot stands? They have pretzel stands,
Oh
like
yeah,
bread stands. Oh my God, they're
real
so good. Real pretzels, like soft.
Those are real pretzels, not
soft
those little
pretzels.
crackers. Those little
No.
crackers. Those aren't pretzels.
So
Those
the
are
thing I
pretzels.
usually compare it to is like whenever you're at like an event and you get like your big pretzel, your soft pretzel. It's like that, but like softer. And oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so much better. They're not as
Oh,
big, but they're so much better. Oh, I
yeah.
miss the pretzels.
A good Bavarian pretzel. Yes.
And I miss being able to bike everywhere. So that's a big culture difference is that here in America, everything is so spread out. I think Lefty kind of talked about it, how he'll go to further into America and everything's more spread out than where he's at. He can't just bike everywhere. But yeah, it was so nice to be able to just ride. No, you're good to be able to just pedal back when I could actually ride a bike for more than 10 minutes. We would bike to the school and then like going out on the public transportation, the food. Oh my gosh. And the history of it. Oh my gosh. Like I said, the castles was so cool.
Yeah. Except for maybe those, about 15, 20 years there, around 1929 to,
Yeah.
maybe the history there isn't so good.
Well, one castle, I wish I would have dug up the book. One castle we went to was actually, hit by one of those bombing raids and they rebuilt it. Well, one of the columns, it has a swirl cap, at the top and the bottom, and then the main like vertical lines. Well, the swirl parts, when they were rebuilding it, one guy actually put it upside down. So one on one pillar is swirling the opposite way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's a
somebody with
funny story.
OCD, that
Oh
would
my
drive
gosh.
me crazy. Every
Yeah.
day looking at it.
Yeah.
Trying to fix it. Okay,
Yep.
so, and did you ever ask your exchange student what her favorite thing about being over here was? Was there anything that stood out for her?
I didn't. And I've tried to talk. I thought I reached out to her before, but I think there's like some hacker out there who was pretending to be her because they could not speak a single like bit of English. And I got lucky with my student, with my fellow student. I got very lucky with her because she was like the best at English in her class. Like she was very fluent. And this person who I found on Facebook was not, like zero English. So I was like, I don't think this is her.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you use it or lose it, but like,
yeah, not that much.
No.
Especially typing as opposed to speaking. Typing's usually a little bit easier, right?
Right.
I had a very good friend who did the same exact thing. He went over there, but he was over there for like a month and a half. And then had one of the guys come over and stay here. And he was very, very, very fluent. He backpacked all over Europe and stuff and loved it. But it was really cool because we worked at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. And it was like 10 o'clock at night, and these German tourists pulled up to the gas station, and they spoke a little bit of English. But I was like, you know what? You guys, you speak German, sprechen Sie Deutsch? And they were like, yeah. And I said, Sean. Sean Patrick O'Shea came over and saved the day because he was so fluent. They were just like, their faces lit up. They were so happy because we're in this gas station in the middle of nowhere, and here's a guy speaking German. It was amazing for them.
Oh my God, how could I forget? The World Cup was going on, and it was actually being hosted in the city in Stuttgart when we were there. So we didn't only have the German experience, we had like all these European country like sports fans there. My friend Brant.
Hooligans.
Oh my gosh, he actually followed soccer, like European soccer, and he was really a big fan of the Sweden team. So he was wearing his Sweden regalia, walking through the main town center, and a bunch of Englishmen, people from England, call him, oh, Swede, come over here. And he's like, well, actually, I'm American here for school. And they're like, oh, Swede. So he was talking English to this guy. All of a sudden, a beer, it's crowded, just packed with people moving around. All of a sudden, an empty beer bottle flies out of the air, crashes in the middle of the table, explodes, and then a riot erupted in the middle of it was crazy. So we were joking that Brant started a riot.
Nice.
But yeah, it was.
He wore the wrong jersey.
Oh my gosh, the riot police just pop out of nowhere. Like they were on it.
I bet.
But yeah,
I bet they were waiting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're like waiting in the shadows.
You hear about the violence that happens with those, but of course we have our own things that way.
Yeah.
Although
and it's not really
in our case,
there's a lot of tension.
Like Chicago will, not so much Chicago, but other places will win a championship, NBA championship, and they burn their own houses down, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a little crazy. I'm a sports fan myself, but come on. That's just ridiculous.
They set up pavilions with big projectors, so if so everybody as a group could like watch the game together out and and then people would just pitch picnics in the middle of any park. Like it's normal. One time we were sitting around just hanging out, and a guy who was jogging walked over to a fountain and literally just dunked his whole like torso into it. Nobody batted an eye. I'm like, he just dunked himself in the fountain. They're like, yeah, he's hot. And I'm like, okay. We don't do that in America. He wasn't drinking, but he was just, getting his sweat off and stuff. But I was like, that's not normal in America. You get in trouble if you touch that stuff. Oh yeah. Like you get in trouble if you touch all the public art stuff.
Yeah. And I bet you that fountain was probably older than most of our buildings here too.
Yeah, right? So, but yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
I keep seeing I don't mean to change the subject, but I keep seeing doggies walking around behind you there. So
yes.
What
oh gosh.
What do you got?
That's Husky. That's Husky. That's other dog. No, that's Logan. He's about 12 years old. He's a grumpy old man. And then that's Riley. She's my mutt. She's 50% red bone coonhound. Riley, come here. She's 50% red bone coonhound, and the other 50% coonhound, 12% German Shepherd, and then the DNA test was just like mutt. Don't know, just mutt.
Everything.
Everything.
Those are the best dogs, and that's Riley.
Riley, yep. She's my baby go princess. Yeah, she loves wearing clothes. Oh my gosh, she loves wearing clothes.
You have a bird as well, right? Or just one bird?
Yes,
and
one bird.
Marco.
The
bird's name. Okay.
Marco.
And what else? What else do you have? I know you got the fish behind you. Obviously, you're big into salt.
Oh my gosh, this is Brennan's black belt that he gave me at the Triple Crown. She's called Queen Bitch. Here she is. She actually just got done laying eggs. She lays eggs on this rock right here. They finally got moldy and she ate them. But oh my God, I really need to find her a male because she religiously lays eggs like once a month. And then I have a small, supposed to be a shrimp tank, but right now it has baby swordtails in it and one cherry shrimp, and some bladder snails and ram's horn snails, along with a bunch of plants, including the plants that Steven gave me. Thank you, Steven. And then my saltwater tank.
I didn't know you had fresh water. I didn't know you had any fresh water.
Well, so I set up the shrimp tank, and it blew everybody's mind that I was finally getting a freshwater tank. And then I set this one up because I was getting the black belt. Nathan asked for a big fish, and that's when Brennan was talking about getting rid of her. And I was like, hey, I know a guy that's getting rid of a big cichlid, and he's going to the Triple Crown, so I'm gonna talk to him. So yeah, we found the tank on Facebook Marketplace, set it up about 2 weeks before the Triple Crown, and then brought her home. And now she's happy as a clam.
Okay, we went way off on a whole bunch of tangents. Oh, go ahead. You wanted to say something else?
Yeah, this is a 120, and Brennan had her in a 75, so she got upgraded. That's why she's queen. Nice. Brennan was calling her big bitch, but now she's queen bitch because she's got a castle.
Nice. Okay, so what other travel? We'll go way back. We've got to go way back and talk about places you've been and places. So,
oh gosh,
you get to Germany. What about other places? And again, it doesn't have to be outside of the country. It can be. Is there places that you've been that you've really enjoyed staying at besides Germany?
I went to both Disneys. So whenever I went to LA for school for marching band, we went to Disneyland. Yeah, yep. Disneyland. It was okay. Everyone should go at least once. And I'm glad that was my first Disney park that I went to, because then my dad started dating this lady who's now his wife. There's a bunch of drama there, which we can unpack in a little bit. But so we were going to Florida because that's where she's from, and that's where her daughter was, and all of her family. So we went to Florida, but we also went to Disney World. And oh my God, trying to go to all 4 parks in one day, we were exhausted. Oh, yeah. We calculated it out. We could spend like 2 hours and 45 minutes in each park. And we tried our best to see everything. Yeah, I know. We tried. We tried real hard.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a week-long thing, really.
Yeah.
You need to really spend
it. It really is.
Yeah.
So I would love to go back to Disney World and actually enjoy it the way it's meant to be.
Is there any place that you'd like to go to live, or is Missouri really home? Do you really like living in Missouri?
I would really like to go somewhere where the weather's not so extreme. So I was actually just telling a customer about that the other day, because it's starting to get cold and everyone's like, here it comes. Like, yeah, so we get the worst of both worlds here in St. Louis. We get really high heat summer with high humidity. Like, it's like an oven here. And then we also get cold enough to where it doesn't snow all the time, but when it does, like, the city shuts down. It could be anywhere from like 6 to 10 inches. At least once, maybe twice a year, we get 2 bad snowstorms, but we get a lot of ice also. Because the weather fluctuates so bad. It could rain one day and then freeze overnight, and all that rain freezes.
Gotcha.
So we get
Which
a
is
lot
way
of ice.
worse. Way worse.
Yes.
Yeah, the ice is
Yes.
always way worse. Yeah.
Yep.
See, if we get anything less than like a couple of feet, nobody even notices.
Yeah, because
Really.
you're around you is equipped for it. So here in St. Louis, they're stingy with the salt, and they're stingy with hiring the plow trucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, as long as the road crew, as long as MoDOT is on top of it, it's fine. If they prep for it, but if this storm comes out of nowhere, the whole city shuts down. Like
it
you
makes
can't.
all the difference.
Yeah.
Because even I live in a village, in the little township that I live in is only like 1,200 people over like 20 square miles, and we've got 6 huge plow trucks that the town owns. So every little village has those or plenty more. So that's all. You're right. You have to be. People make fun of the South because they get an inch of snow and it shuts down, but they're not
because they don't have plows. Yeah, they don't have plows. They don't have salt.
They don't know how to drive either, though, in it.
Yeah.
They're not used to it. When you grew up in it and you were in it all the time, the very first year I was here, I wrecked. So I know how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very first year, wrapped my truck around a tree because I hit some black ice and off the road.
I usually try not to make fun of the South for snow, because snow is no joke. I make fun of people in LA who can't drive in the rain. Like, you can't really in the rain. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, just slow down like 5-10 miles per hour. You can't go 90 down that road in the rain. Come on.
Put some more space between you and the car in front of you.
Oh my gosh.
And, that you're good to go. So
yeah.
Okay, so but you'd like to go someplace that
has
a milder.
Yeah, so I think in one stream, Ed and I were talking in chat about how Tennessee differs from St. Louis, and because he grew up here in St. Louis, and it sounds like beautiful. Like, it doesn't get as humid, it doesn't get as cold. So I'm like, dang, maybe Tennessee one of these days. But due to current circumstances, which I'll get into probably here in a little bit, I hope we got another. We open it up after how long to the chat?
Whenever we feel like it.
Okay, cool. Because I still got plenty to go over.
We're barely even getting started. So however it works out. There's no real. I don't like to make it, strict.
Yeah, cool. I try not to think about this interview too much because I knew you like to keep it
fresh,
authentic. Yeah, authentic.
We're just having a conversation, and I don't want it to feel like planned out, and we just want it to go where it naturally goes. That's the fun part of it. Just see where it goes.
So Tennessee would probably be a consideration, or North somewhere Carolina? Further north, maybe. Just North anywhere
Carolina would
like along the same line or north, because I hate the heat. I can deal with the cold. I can just put more layers on and I'm fine. I hate the heat because there's nothing you can do about it.
We're pretty lucky here because of the lake. It really moderates our temperatures and stuff, so we don't get super hot. I don't have air conditioning in the house. We just use fans in the summertime. Now, we don't get super cold either, but we do get a butt ton of snow. I mean, just that lake effect snow. People talk about Buffalo. In Buffalo, we get twice as much snow as Buffalo gets. I mean, we really get a lot of snow. So, all right. So anyways, you just like to move away from the heat, but
yes,
all your family's in Missouri, right?
Yes.
And
Nathan has some family up in Illinois. So if you're familiar enough with Illinois, not everybody is. So if you put your finger on St. Louis and your finger on Peoria, Illinois, and you kind of go like this, that's where Nathan's family is at. There, it's middle of farm country. Like, their town only has like how many people? He's watching, so he's got the delay. He's not gonna. He's not gonna. he's gonna reply in 30 seconds.
Hi, Nathan.
Like 800. 200.
Wow.
500 people. Yeah, tiny town.
Yeah. Is there even
everybody
a
knows
stoplight
everybody
in town? Is there?
Yeah. I think there's 2.
Is there anything? We have nothing. We have 1,200 people. We don't have anything. There is nothing. There's no way to tell that there's a town here at all.
There is only one stoplight. Yeah. All stop signs. Oh, one stop sign. Not even a stoplight.
Did he grow up there?
No, his mom
Okay.
did.
Okay.
But no, he grew up here. Actually, the next street over from our current house right now, he grew up one street over, same house number.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Oh, really?
that's
Wow.
kind of why we live here, is because all the neighbors every year do a block party, so all the neighbors know each other.
Yeah.
And so we got a really good deal on this house. Whenever
Oh, that's nice.
the previous owner was moving, they're like, "All right, well, we'll cut you a deal before we even put it on market." And we're like, "Okay."
That's awesome. And now,
Yeah.
do you get along with most of those neighbors too?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay.
There's
'Cause
a
I know
few
sometimes,
that are
double-edged
kind of
sword.
passive aggressive. Like when we first got Logan, you know how huskies love the wintertime? Well, we can't even hardly get them inside in the wintertime. So sometimes someone would, I don't know who did it. I have an idea, and they're very passive aggressive about it. Because they're nice to your face, and then they're called the county or the city on us another minute.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they used to call if he was left out for more than like an hour, that we would leave our dog out. Another time, I used to watch my nephew every Wednesday, and Logan did not like my nephew for some reason, would always nip at him if he got overexcited. So he was being dropped off, so I picked up or dropped off. Anyway, I put Logan outside, and he's out there doing his, husky talking dramatics. Yeah, I'm talking about you.
Good time.
And yeah, like you're ripping a nail off or something.
Yeah.
Well, apparently somebody called the city, and they came out, and they're like, someone says that like there's a dog that sounds like they're caught on something or crying and all that. And I'm like, oh, we have a husky. And he goes, all right, have a good day. Yeah.
Well, that's good. At least he knew. I mean, at least somebody qualified for that job.
I'm like, we had company coming and going, and we put him outside, so he didn't book it out the front door, because he used to do that. So yeah, we have a husky, and he's like, okay, yeah. Can I see him? He did ask to see him to make sure he was okay. We're like, yeah, he's right there. And like, okay, all right, have a good day.
So shifting gears a little bit, how did you and Nathan meet?
So we were actually in the same group of friends for years before we started dating. We just never talked one-on-one. It was always we would actually meet at Hooters like once a week, twice a week to hang out. Yeah. Like we knew the whole staff. We knew the manager. We knew the whole staff. Like we were like VIPs. And yeah, it was so Nathan's not Kane, my son's biological father. I was actually pregnant with Kane at the time. Very bad situation. He's the biological father's a really big deadbeat. Well, I couldn't afford to come up here because I was living in South County at the time. I couldn't afford to make those trips every week. So Nathan offered to drive me. And then that's when we started talking one-on-one. And we all knew that I was in the middle of separating from Kane's biological father. So he helped me like move out of my old apartment. And then we started dating, and we took it real slow. Like I didn't jump into it. No judging. We took it real slow.
No judgment.
We took it real slow. Like, moved in with my dad. I tried to give him a second chance. He actually kicked me out right after I didn't even finish high school. He kicked me out shortly after I turned 18.
Wow.
Yeah. New wife like brainwashed him, and he decided her family was more important, and yeah, kicked me and my sister out.
I can't imagine. I still have adult children living at home.
Yeah.
I mean, and my daughter's husband, he lives here when he's in the States. He's here right now. I just can't even imagine that. How do you do that? Do you talk to your dad much today?
Nope. I haven't talked to him. So whenever I moved back in with him, that was me giving him a second chance. And he was, I guess, giving me a second chance. Anyway, so I was about 7 months pregnant at the time. So I was in my last like 2 to 3 months of pregnancy living with my dad. My rent was my food stamps that I was getting at the time. They just went to the house's food. And then I had my son. Found out that my son's actually special needs, and I got really bad postpartum, and I guess he couldn't understand that, and so I left my dad's house, and yeah, so that was like 12 years ago, and then I moved in with my mom up here in North County, and I've been in North County since.
Have
But
you
yeah,
talked to your dad at all in the last 12 years? Not one
nope.
single time. I
Mm-mm.
understand. I get it. I
No,
get it.
he moved to Florida with his wife's family. Notice I don't say my stepmother. She's my dad's wife.
Yeah.
Um, he moved down to Florida for a while and then apparently moved to Canada because that was a thing that she always wanted to do. I think it was to escape credit card charges. She racked up. She was a big like luxury spender. She loves Coach. Coach shoes, Coach umbrellas, Coach purses, Coach everything. So he tried to keep up with that and couldn't. So he recently actually sold the old house that we grew up in. So I
So he
think
had it that whole time? Was there anybody in your
yeah,
family living there?
no, I think he was
Huh.
renting it to an old coworker of his, somebody who he
Oh,
knew, either somebody through church or some like one of his old coworkers. He was renting it out. But he recently sold it. Which is fine because he did a lot of like renovating himself, so not everything's up to code. I feel sorry for the person who actually bought the house.
yeah.
But yeah, it just sucks because that was my childhood home. It sucks. My sister and I kind of
Yeah.
mourned it a little bit, but then we remembered how much he changed it. It wasn't our old home anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What about
But yeah, no.
mom? You said you moved in with your mom after that. You and
Yeah.
very close to your mom?
Yeah, so she helps me a lot with my son. Like I said, we found out he's special needs, and I'll go more into that here in a second. But
Okay.
yeah, no, she's very, very present. Moved in with her, and then so my mom's very unique. She can get on your nerves a little bit. So I was getting irritated with her. So then I actually moved in with my uncle, my dad's brother, because when my dad kicked my sister and I out, like his whole family like pushed him away. Like his whole family agrees with my sister and I. So I still talk with my grandma and all my aunts and uncles on
Oh,
his side of the family.
Yeah.
So I actually moved in with my dad's brother, my uncle. Lived there for
That's
a
good.
while.
That's good.
Nathan moved in also. And then my mom got laid off and couldn't afford all of her bills anymore. So I actually moved back in with my mom to help her make sure she didn't lose her house and all that. And then she kind of got back on her feet. And then that's when we bought this house. We have a house.
And how long ago was that?
Oh, gosh. 8 years ago? I keep forgetting. I forget he's watching the stream. He's going to reply in like 30 seconds. 7 years. 7 years.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, we had a bunch of boxes in the basement still from when we moved in 7 years ago that we just cleaned up to make it into a gym. I posted the picture on Discord, but yeah, it is now a gym.
Yeah, I get that. We still have stuff we haven't unpacked, and we've been in this house for 15 years, and there's still some boxes, not boxes, but plastic tubs in the basement filled with some things that obviously aren't important. We just need to get rid of them.
A lot of it was old paperwork, like discharge paperwork from whenever I had Kane, and some of his old medical equipment and his old car seat from when he was an infant, like stuff my crow brain wants to hold on to.
Yeah, your mom
Yeah.
brain too a little bit probably.
I
Right?
know,
Because
yeah.
when he's a kid, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I do believe Michelle's got some locks of hair and maybe some baby teeth somewhere from the kids. You know,
Yep.
my oldest is 30. You know, so you know,
Yeah.
it's still probably around somewhere. So, do you want to talk about Kane a little bit? You said he's special needs. Do you want to talk? What's going on with Kane?
So it all started pretty much the first week after, when he was about a week old. So he was born a little early. I think 36 weeks. No, 36. Oh my God. I can't think right now. Anyway, he was born like half a month early. Yeah, 36 weeks. He I had gestational diabetes whenever I was pregnant. So he was a large baby. If he had gone full term, they estimated that he would be like 11 pounds. And I was like only 120 pounds at the time. Like I was a petite little girl. So I opted into a C-section. Like we knew I was going to have a C-section. I wasn't even going to attempt it. Nope. Epidural, cut me open, get him out. And it was a good thing I did. So the day before I was actually supposed to go in and schedule the C-section, I went into labor. So went to the hospital, had the emergency C-section, was in labor for about 7 hours before they actually gave me the epidural. And that was 7 hours enough. A female who's been in labor 20 plus hours. I have no idea how you did it. And so the OB, whenever she pulled him out, first thing she said was, "Holy cow, look at that head. You'd have never been able to push him out." First thing she said. Wow. I was like, "Cool, it's a boy, right?" She goes, "Oh yeah, it's a boy." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Wow. Because they actually thought I was going to be a boy, back 30 years ago. Ultrasound wasn't as high def as it is now. So I guess my umbilical cord was in the way. Up until I was delivered, they thought I was a boy. So yeah, I wanted to make sure. I'm like, "It's a boy, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's a boy."
You had that in the back of your mind.
Yeah. So they, my sister was in with me because again, father was a POS. Wasn't even there at the time. He couldn't find his shoe. So my sister was in the room with me. Yeah, right. So my sister cut the umbilical cord. He had what's called macrocephaly, so his head was in like the 5th percentile of size proportion to his body. So I think something else. Anyway, he went straight to the NICU. I forget exactly what it was that sent him to the NICU, but he went to the NICU.
Which is scary as shit.
It is. And at the time at the hospital I was in, they were actually in the middle of moving the NICU. So he did go to the old NICU, which is more of like an open room situation, kind of like what you see in the TV shows, where it's like basket and then some space and then a basket and then some space. Gotcha. But the new NICU, we actually had individual like rooms, like how you would in like outpatient surgery and all that.
Yeah.
So went to the old NICU. And he also had eye rolling. So at rest, his eyes would roll up. And I think that's also one of the factors that got him into the NICU. So the neurologist was there, kind of trying to assess him within the first week, trying to kind of figure out what was going on. He noticed the eye rolling, and the ophthalmologist at the time was there. And he goes, "Hey, come over here for a second." And they're both looking him over. And that's how I kind of started my journey with specialists right then and there. He was in the NICU till he was about 18 weeks because he was considered a failure to thrive. He could not intake enough calories to maintain his weight. So he has a G button. So that's a port surgically attached to his stomach to go directly to his stomach. So he's on a feeding pump. He still is at 12 years old. He still has a G tube. And the neurologist, I'm really lucky that we got the neurologist that we did, because he recognized a bunch of the symptoms and asked for this certain genetic test. Turns out he has what's called congenital disorder of glycosylation, meaning he's missing an enzyme in his DNA for proper muscle and tissue growth. So he's got really low muscle tone. And then unrelated to that exact diagnosis, he's also visually impaired, and he's 100% deaf. He cannot hear. So because of that, because of the low muscle tone, he is in a wheelchair. Cannot sit up on his own. He rolls around and kicks everything, but he cannot sit up on his own. So yeah, very dependent, still in
Yeah.
diapers, still on the feeding tube, like I said, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's gotta just be so hard too. It's just,
It's challenging, yeah, because and it would always frustrate me at other jobs, like when I was at Petco and stuff, and somebody would be like, "Can't come in today. I don't have a babysitter," and I'm like, "Come on, you could talk to anybody to babysit your kid." Like, I have a problem finding childcare. Like, are you kidding me?
yeah.
So it would, and I understand. Not everybody wants just any Joe Schmo
Yeah.
to watch their kid. I understand that,
Yeah.
but like, you could have a backup to your backup. I have a backup to my backup, but it only goes one deep. Like, both of those fail, and now I don't have childcare. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's actually what happened today. Kane got sick at school yesterday, and they told me he can't come back to school tomorrow. And my mom's like, "I'm cleaning houses today," and I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm not going to work tomorrow." So
Yeah. And does
yeah.
that happen? I mean, is he generally, healthy like that? Does he get sick often too?
So
Does he?
yeah, he's generally healthy. Luckily, I did not catch COVID, and luckily he did not catch COVID. Nathan did, because I think he got it at the gym. So, that's what you get for going to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim.
See, going to the gym is not good for you.
I agree 100%.
So yeah, luckily we were COVID free. But yeah, he's generally healthy. Super happy
Okay.
kid. Excuse you. God. My husky just coughed. Yeah, so I think what it is that we have to tweak around the volume of his food. So he gets formula feedings, and then he also gets water supplements, because he can't, well, it's not that he can't, he just doesn't intake enough fluid and sustenance to maintain his body weight still. So we have to supplement that. So every 4 hours he gets a formula feeding, and then like a 2-hour shift to that, he gets a water supplement. So I
Gotcha.
think I need to tweak the water supplement, because I think it's just too much volume that he's getting, and then he gets sick at school, and they don't understand that. And they think that he's actually sick, because he goes to a special needs school, so special school district school. So they're extra precautious, because all the kids have special needs.
Sure.
Some are
Yeah.
autoimmune impaired and all that stuff. So they have to
Yeah,
take the
yeah.
extra precautions, which I understand. But
Yeah. That's still difficult.
you can tell when he's actually sick from whenever he's just had too much water.
Yeah. Man, that's difficult. I mean, I just you're a very strong woman, to have to not to have
Thank
to,
you.
but to be able to do that. Because I mean, I remember even just when our youngest was born, one of the nurses told us that he was deaf, and I remember how that felt. And that's
Mhm.
nothing compared to what you've gone through for 12 years. And I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, there's the positive part of it too. You have an amazing son, but still, it's got to be just incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
So
So we did get roped into, at a year old, him getting a cochlear implant. So the deaf community here in St. Louis isn't as strong as it used to be, because there is the very commercial, your kid's deaf, let's fix him. And they immediately like, here's a cochlear implant, here's a hearing aid, he can get this at a year old. Like, that's the first immediate. It's not, hey, let's try sign language. There's not really a school for the deaf around here that teaches in sign language. It's out in Jeff City, which is like 2.5, 3 hours away. So I opted into learning sign language. I went to a local community college, learned sign language for a year, but then learned that with his physical, his low muscle tone, he doesn't have the dexterity to sign back. So
gotcha.
I still do certain signs with him to let him know that things are happening.
Yeah.
You just have to do it slow, because he does have the visual impairment, cortical vision impairment. So his eyes are fine. It's just the processing to his brain is a little slow.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So you just have to sign slower, do it more than once, just to give him some awareness, but he's not able to reciprocate it. But I remember going to a cochlear implant like family support group. We went to one, and that's because all the other families were talking about their experience. Their kids are various ages, and they're like, "Oh yeah, ever since they got the implant, it's been great. My kid is fixed." And I'm like, "Your kid was never broken." Like, and I was literally the only one. Like, Nathan and I were the only family that even attempted to learn sign language. Yeah. Everybody else was like, "Oh, I'm so glad I could talk to my kid now." I'm like, "You didn't even think to learn sign language?" Like, I was so angry about it too, because the whole deaf culture is amazing. Like, oh my gosh. If anybody could, like, go to a community college and just take sign language for a year, oh my God, do it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, do it. That.
She's going to school to be an accountant, one of her electives. And again, she's older, right? We're old people. So she went back to school. She got out of the medical field and went back to be an accountant. And one of her electives currently she's doing is for ASL. So
yeah,
she's learning it right now just because she likes to learn languages. So
it's so amazing.
Russian and Spanish, and now she's doing ASL.
So it actually helps that she's learning those other languages, because ASL is actually more French grammar based.
Okay.
So yeah, that more kind of European grammar based. So it actually would help. It actually helps out a lot knowing those other like European languages to learn the grammar.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the proper grammar of true ASL is more French, because it was a French man that came over and kind of developed ASL.
Okay.
Now there is like English or signed English where you use English grammar, but true ASL is like French grammar.
Gotcha. So
yeah,
how
amazing.
well can Kane communicate back with you? I mean, how well does he do that way?
Just like an infant. Like just like under a year old. So I know his vocalizations like how a mother would with their infant. He has various levels of anger vocalizations. And yeah, no, he just lets you know. He usually does, like, when he's hungry, if I lose track of time and it's like an hour past his feeding or something, he does what I call the Tarzan yell, where he just kind of and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Like like a long prolonged one.
Yeah.
Like,
so you just have to be attentive. You just have to pay attention. That's all. Yeah. Gotcha. That's amazing.
But yeah, so our biggest struggle right now is that he is 12, and we're actually still using his like toddler car seat that he barely fits into anymore. The struggle right now is that with COVID hitting, like, we really want a Ford Transit as a wheelchair van, but they stopped making them during COVID, so they're very hard to get a hold of right now.
Okay.
Yeah, production essentially stopped because they were focusing on other things. So yeah, we're struggling to find a wheelchair van right now, which we need to, like, within the next year, because he's, like I said, barely fits into that car seat. He's like 75 to 80 pounds. I haven't weighed him lately, but
Gotcha.
We have a lift.
Very comfortable.
We have a Hoyer lift for him, which is essentially like an engine block. That's what this is. This is his Hoyer lift. I don't use it right now because I can still lift him. And kind of like that. What is that biblical story of that guy who was carrying that lamb up a mountain every day to build strength, and then as the lamb grew, he built his strength up? That idea. If I can still lift him every day, as he gets bigger, I will get stronger. I just want to hold off on using that until I literally cannot lift him anymore.
Yeah, that's an amazing outlook of it. Just, it's a testament to your.
Because as soon as I start getting reliant on that, like, that's great for getting him in the chair. But right now, since we don't have a wheelchair van, I have to get him out of the van and into his wheelchair. And if I rely on that, I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. So.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's my big secret. My son's special needs.
I had no idea. And again, just it. How do I put this? It just shows what kind of person you are. Because to have that kind of caring for somebody else like that it's of course, kids. It's your kid. It's obviously a lot easier than but still, it's
Yeah.
difficult. Very difficult.
It
So,
is hard. That's one thing my friend, one of my friends would always say. She's like, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I honestly, if I was in your situation, I would have given them up for adoption. I'm like, well, here's the thing. They don't give you that option in the hospital. That's something you literally have to start on your own. Like that. I never
Yeah.
once has anyone in the hospital ever came up to me. Not that I would have, but like it was never an option. Like
you didn't even think about it because this wasn't on the table. You just,
right.
This is what we do. This is our son, and this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
Gotcha.
just, I remember reading an article early, like years and years and years ago, about a mom who gave birth to I think he had Down syndrome, and she did not want to keep him. She knew that she wasn't strong enough to go through that. And her husband actually divorced, and the husband took full custody of the son, and everyone was just ragging on this mom. And I was like, if she couldn't do it, then it's better that she had that self-awareness than to attempt and then neglect this child. Like
badly. And
everyone in the comments, I actually got into an argument. This is back when I would actually get into arguments on Facebook. I don't even do it anymore. But anyway, so I remember going to the comment section, and one comment stood out to me the most was like, where are her motherly instincts? And I'm like, the funny thing about these magical maternity instincts is that there's rejection. Rejection is real. Like you see it in nature all the time. Everyone talks about the rainbows and sunshine of motherly instincts, but nobody talks about the dark side, and that's rejection. She's just rejecting the child because she knows she can't. And then she's just like, I think we'll agree to disagree. And I'm like, cause I'm right. But yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
We love to judge. We love to judge each other. We don't know what that other person's capable of. We don't know what the other person's been through. We don't know anything, but we love to just judge. That's what we do as a society. And stop it. No. Don't do that anymore. Get better. Just don't do it. Quit judging people. We all do it. It's hard not to, but I mean, we could all be better. Oh, but it's tough. All right, let's shift gears a little bit.
Yes.
Let's talk about your work life. Okay. So I know that you currently work at a very large marine fish store, right? Is it a pet store? Okay.
Yes. Well, LFS, marine specialty aquatic store, saltwater store. Okay. Yeah.
But you used to work at Petco or PetSmart?
Yes. Petco.
Petco. And Pet Supplies Plus as well?
Nope, that was Danny.
Never. That was Danny. Okay. I thought maybe you and Danny had worked together at one point or something. Okay.
Nope.
All right. Well, start us off way back. Okay. So you obviously, you were pregnant very young. So working wasn't as easy as
it wasn't so much that I got pregnant. I got pregnant at 20 years old. So I wouldn't say like super young, but yeah, I was young. Yeah. I right on the line. But yeah, so the problem wasn't that. It was that my dad worked a lot overtime. He worked for Southwestern Bell / AT&T. I remember back when it was Southwestern Bell. He worked a lot of overtime to keep us in the school district, very good school district, to get us and my sisters to go to the school district. So I got my driver's permit, but I never got my driver's license until I moved out and lived with my mom. So it wasn't that I got pregnant and stuff. It was that I didn't have a car. So I couldn't get a job because I couldn't drive myself.
Gotcha.
So my first job was actually Ronnie's Theater, now owned by Marcus Theater. And Chattanooga Ed and I were talking about that in chat one time too. He's like, "Oh, remember Ronnie's?" I'm like, "I used to work at Ronnie's. I worked in the game room." And he's like, I forget what he said he did. I think ushering.
Yeah, I knew that I didn't know he worked there, but I knew that he worked at movie places for a long time.
Yeah. So it was Ronnie's Theater. Yep.
That's funny.
Yep. So I worked in the game room. I was hired on as seasonal help, Thanksgiving, Christmas seasonal help. if anybody goes to one of those theaters and they have the Max Flight thing and you want to ride it and they ask you, do you have anything in your pockets? They're asking for a reason. Like, take everything out of your gosh darn pockets, because so many people, oh my God, I would run it and maybe 3 people would be able to ride it. And all of a sudden you hear change clinking and we have to hit the emergency stop because that change are projectiles. They can screw you up. They can screw up the screen that's in there. Like, you have to shut it down until literally we have to sit there and rotate it until all that change falls out. Like, take everything out of your pockets. So yeah. So I worked at Ronnie's for about 4 months, 2 to 3 months, for the seasonal season. And then, moved up to North County, started working at a thrift store. So it's called Value Village Thrift Store. Worst job I ever had. Worst job. Management. Management.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a big thing. So it was fine. My first year, I was just a cashier working the floor. At one point, the other 3 cashiers during day shift quit and I was the only cashier. That was fun. It wasn't really bad until I decided to go into the back room during production. So unloading all the they're not pallets. What are those big wheel things called? Why did I not remember what those are called? Anyway, big wheelie carts full of just donated stuff. The sorter sorts it. Where did I start in production? I think I started as a tagger. So just literally just stapling the tags to all the clothes. And then I moved to household, which was belts, socks, ties, curtains, bedding, purses.
Was that a household? I mean, the whole first part's clothes.
It should have been called miscellaneous because that's essentially what it was. So in production, you had a daily quota. If you did not meet you have a week to kind of learn and to kind of get into your groove. After a week, if you don't meet your daily quota, you're written up. If you're written up 3 times, you're fired. It was very, very strict. I was actually pretty decent where I was in that store. And then they decided to open up another store down in South County, back where I grew up in, same town. I decided to move down there, get my own first apartment, move down there, be production supervisor. So not manager, but the assistant to the manager. Helped open that store. Get production, teaching everybody how to do all the production and everything. Met Kane's biological father, who was actually under me, but a regular associate. Now is a supervisor. And, well, I mean, Kane's maid, so yeah.
He was under me.
So, ended up him being a deadbeat. He got fired from that job. I was working 45, 50 hours a week up until I went into labor. I was supposed to go into work that day and I still joke about it. So I actually called in properly. I called in 2 hours before my shift to go to the hospital.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So that one, you feared for your job every day. If you didn't meet quota, you got written up and all that stuff. It was ridiculous.
Just a horrible place and they could have made it better. They could have easily have made it better.
The problem is that the owner is a very arrogant man. His name was Rob. And his brother was the manager of the store. And so their relationship is fine, but the problem is that Rob would hire his friends as other managers. And those managers thought they could just get away with anything and not do any work. So it fell on us.
Yeah.
But with Rob, the owner, if he came in and was talking to another manager, if an associate came up to try to talk to the manager and interrupted their conversation, Rob would fire them on the spot.
Jesus.
Very arrogant dude. Yeah. So everybody feared him. It was just not a good situation.
Hopefully karma visited him.
Oh yeah, it did, because I think they're down to one store now. Actually, that store that I left. So I went into labor with Kane. I actually, since I'd been there for like 2 or 3 years, I got 12 weeks maternity leave, unpaid, because of course it was unpaid. No health insurance through that job.
Civilized country.
Yeah. Took my 12 weeks, realized all of Kane's special needs, went back to tell him, hey, I can't work like I used to. Like, can I, he's got all these specialists now. Like, can I maybe work these hours? And they essentially laughed at me. So I was like, cool, I'm not coming back. So, Nathan was at a community college at the time for machining. He's a machinist, a precision machinist. I think I was staying at his dorm with him one weekend, and I think he was on Craigslist, or somebody, one of us was just poking around on the internet, and he goes, hey, there's this cookie shop that's hiring. Why don't you apply to that? I was like, ha ha, like they'd hire me. Submitted it. I got a call within a few days. So I started working at a cookie store called Cookies by Design. The old owner of that, because it's franchise, owned
is it a bakery? I mean, they just do cookies, or?
Yeah, just did cookies. The owner at the time is the current owner of all the Chicago stores. I worked there for 5 or so years. I don't even remember. Yeah, 2010 to 2015. Yeah, so I worked there for a total of 5 years. Our St. Louis store, there was only one St. Louis store, wasn't as profitable as the Chicago stores. So that owner ended up selling our store to this couple who had never owned a bakery before. So that was a sticky situation. And then they started doing fruit bouquets, which was a terrible idea, because you need a large refrigerator space to store those and to store the fruit for it, and it was insane.
Yeah.
But I ended up leaving that because my best friend at the time worked at Petco down the street. She was leaving to now go to the World Bird Sanctuary, which is what she went to college for. And before she left, she put in a recommendation for me, and that's when I got hired in at Petco.
Now, did you have any animals? Were you into fish keeping? Were you into birds? Were you into any of that stuff when you first got hired? Nothing.
At all. I was living with my mom, I think, at the time, or my uncle. No, I think I was back at my mom's house when I left. And my mom's always had cats, so I had lots of experience with cats. My mom has never not had a cat. And I think at the time she technically had 2 cats, but with the strays that would come and go, she would have up to like 6 cats at a time.
Yeah. Like Lisa from KG Tropicals.
Yeah.
Just can't turn them away. Yeah.
No, they would stay for like 2 weeks, and then they'd be away for 2 weeks, and then they come back for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fine. Sometimes they'd come back with scratches and stuff from fighting other cats, and then we'd take them to the vet, treat them up, and then, yeah.
So Petco just sounded like a something different, and you were tired of the cookie place. Especially now, if the lady hadn't sold it, you probably wouldn't have person. I said lady, but the owner, if they hadn't sold it, you might have kept working there.
I don't know.
You were just ready for a change, maybe.
I was ready for a change. It had been like 5 years. It was getting stagnant. I didn't like the way that because the new owners were talking about starting to do pies, but they weren't going to do it from scratch. They were going to buy pre-made dough. They were going to buy pre-made filling. And I'm like, you can't sell them for the prices of a boutique and not make it from scratch. Like, no.
People are going to know.
Stupid.
They can go to Walmart and get that.
Yeah. Same thing with cupcakes, I think. They were going to like pre-buy, like, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
No, but the cookies, everything was made in store. The icing was made in store. The cookie dough was made in store. Everything was
I
made
want
from
a
scratch.
cookie.
Right?
I want a cookie. Sounds good.
Um,
So Petco was next, and
Petco.
you worked there for how long?
So I worked at my first store for about a year and a half. I was a cashier first for about a little less than a year. And then the aquatic specialist at the time moved on. He got security job. So I became aquatic specialist at my first store.
Now,
Worked
did you
that.
have any training for that or anything? Did they actually
Nope.
have decent training, or did it said these are yours now?
There was one day of video training, and that was it. That
I
was
think I
it.
got more when I started
Everything.
at Burger King.
Yeah. Everything you learn or that I learned was self-taught. So a lot of researching on live aquaria, and I told myself to keep from getting overwhelmed and mixing up information. I would pick 2 fish a day and go to live aquaria. So like 2 different tetras or 2 different cichlids or 2 different, plecos or something. And I would
Yeah.
read the stats a couple times and then like wait an hour and like quiz myself and then go back and check. And yeah, like it was like a whole evening thing of
And
studying.
we're not talking that long ago. You said 2015, roughly?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so not that long ago, and you had no idea. And
No
I've
idea.
heard you talk, and people come to you for with questions all the time. I hear people, well, ask Gina, ask Gina,
Yeah.
ask Gina. I hear it quite often. So you've become. I mean, I never want to use the word expert, but you've definitely become somebody very knowledgeable about at least the marine side of things. At the
And
very
so
least.
that's the same thing I missed out on, or that I forgot to mention, is that this first store was freshwater only. I wasn't even in marine at this point.
Gotcha.
One of the good managers at my first store transferred stores, so he got a promotion. And he texted me one day. He's like, "Hey, we need an aquatic specialist here. Or no, we need a animal. We need a companion animal leader, a CAL, at our store. Like, do you want to be promoted and come to the store and be a manager?" And I was like, ever since the management position at the thrift store, I said I'd never be management again. And maybe it's different at a corporate store. Maybe it's different. It's not different. It still sucks. So after months of fighting with my first store manager, because he didn't want to let me go, he was fighting me tooth and nail, not letting me go. Finally, I had to actually call Petco corporate, like HR, to get him to finally let me go to transfer, because he was impeding my promotion, is what it was. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
I had to get HR involved. Finally got transferred, was promoted. And that's when I started learning salt. Luckily, my aquatic specialist at the time, I was amazing. Oh my God. He was so patient with me with my 50 million questions. But it was a higher volume store, a lot busier than what I was used to at my first store. So my first store was in a very like business heavy area. So
Gotcha.
a lot of the times that were busy was like around lunchtime and in the evening.
Yeah.
The second store was busy all day. It was in a richer area, housewives with their 50 million kids, soccer moms and all that stuff, and old retired people. So it was just busy all day.
Those old people.
But it was fun. The store manager and I just didn't work together well. She is very like that military mindset, and I just don't do well with being yelled at. My anxiety's too high. So we got along great. Normally, we always said we could go out and go out for a girls' night and have a blast. Like, we didn't hate each other. We just didn't work well together.
Yeah. Her style wasn't for you at all.
Yeah. So after about 8 months there, I transferred to my last store, which is actually 5 minutes down the street from my house. Nice. So I got to save on gas. I went from a 45-minute commute to a 5-minute commute.
Nice.
So,
and doing the same position, Same job?
Yes, same job. Yep.
Okay.
So the Cal at my last store and me essentially switched because he was awful, and the store leader at my third store just didn't have the heart to like quiet fire him.
Yeah.
So we essentially swapped, and Abby, who was the store leader at the second store, got rid of him, no problem. He was gone within like 2 weeks. She has the highest turnover rate in the whole district. So like she does not put up with stuff.
Yeah, but there's always that business knowledge that goes away. The high turnover rates. Anyways, I don't want to get off on a tangent. So, and so you were at the new store that's very close to you for how long? Until just recently,
I was there
right?
until recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like 4 years, no. Does that timeline match up? I don't know. Years, at least 3 years. Because I think I went through like
3 months, 4 months, no, maybe longer. 6 months you've been at the new place, maybe?
Yeah, about 6 or 7 months, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. And now, is it really close to?
No, so it's actually out where the second Petco was. So I'm back to like it's like, it's right off the highway, whereas the other store wasn't. So it's more like a 30-minute, but I leave 45 minutes before my shift. So I have that 15-minute buffer.
And are you doing the same type of job at the new place? Or
no,
is it much more involved, or
it's way more involved. So going from a corporate pet store now to an LFS, like there's not that corporate to figure out price changes. There's not that corporate, or there's not that distribution center to auto order your dry goods. Like it is so much more footwork, but it's so much more freedom. Our store is not in a shopping center. It's actually like in a business district. So people that seek us out are there for a reason. It's not, you see the meme of like, low on money, just go to the local pet store. It's a free zoo. Like we don't have that. Like people seek us out because they want a fish tank.
Gotcha.
So we don't have those crowds of people, wasting your time and everything, or screaming kids as often. We still have some screaming kids, but not as often.
They're everywhere. Those and the old people, screaming kids and old people, they're everywhere.
Well, no, we still have old people. We still have old people. We have the old school and then the new school people. Yeah. Some of the old guys are so sweet. Oh my God. We just had this one older guy come in. He was so freaking sweet. He left, and Elaine and I looked at each other. We were like, he was so nice. We need him to come back. He was so nice. But yeah, no, it's so every week, every Monday, I submit my dry good order. And so every day I try to actually keep up with what we sell dry good wise and add it to the cart, because the cart saves it. And then on my day off, like today, I would go in and look at yesterday's sales and the day before sales to check to see what they sold and add it to the cart. So that way it's less for me to try to keep up with or try to remember. And then on Monday morning, I'll go through and walk to see if any of there's only 4 of us. There's only 4 of us in the company. And the other 3 do maintenances. So I have to kind of do a walkthrough and see if anybody took anything for a maintenance, because they don't tell me. I have to just see the empty thing on the shelf. So then I add in anything that they took for maintenances. Usually like filter socks, media bags, Fosguard carbon,
and I'm sorry,
scrubbers.
It's marine only? Is there
marine
fresh water
only
at all? Okay.
Nope,
gotcha.
No fresh water at all. Not yet. Right before COVID hit, there was another LFS that was closing down or remodeling. I'm not sure. The owner bought their old systems. So we have the systems. They're just not installed. They're not plumbed.
Gotcha.
But that is intended to be the freshwater side. We even have this huge mural. We have this huge mural around the whole like top half of the store, and there is a little freshwater pocket. So it's intended to be there. It's intended to be there. There's freshwater angels, glowfish, tetras. Yeah.
Are you manager of the store, or what's your so you actually manage the store now?
So
nice.
I joke about that. technically the store manager, but we all like, in our minds, we're all on the same level. It's just that I'm the one who gets yelled at if something gets messed up. So, and I'm the one who's at the store the most. So I don't do maintenances because someone needs to be reliably at the store. And that's me. I take care of the store so they can all do maintenances, and I do the dry good order if anything breaks. I do the regular maintaining of the tanks, because I even told my boss that. I'm like, y'all are probably so burnt down on maintaining everybody else's tanks. Like, I'll maintain the store. Like, I'll keep track of cleaning the polyfill. I'll keep track of replenishing the carbon and the medias, and topping off the tanks and scrubbing algae and all that stuff of taking care of the fish in the store. Like, I'll take care of all that.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? We're already an hour and 15 minutes in, so we probably should open it up to the chat. There's still 65 people watching, and there's a couple of super chats I want to get to as well. But
super chats.
Before we get into all of that, I feel like I feel like there's a whole bunch we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about any of your other hobbies, although I have a feeling that you don't really have a lot of other hobbies these days. I mean,
I'm a nerd.
I
play the video games. I play the video games. Right. Yep.
You're on the Switch. I know that. What else do you play?
I find myself gravitating towards Nintendo a lot. Yeah. So like the Harvest Moon games, Story of Seasons, Stardew Valley, I love. That engulfed my life at one point.
It's fun.
Pokemon, oh my god, all the Pokemon games.
If you're on the Discord server, there is a gaming channel on the Discord server, and Gina will befriend you on on the Switch if you like.
Yes.
I still need to do that. I haven't even picked up the Switch, and it's charged. The day that you sent me your friend information, I charged it. Yeah, it's in the next room. That's why I'm pointing this way. And
I'll go through.
Never picked it up and do it.
I'll go through bouts of playing because, like I said, it just engulfs. I hyper fixate on it, and it engulfs my life. And then once I'm beat the game or I get frustrated with it and have to put it down, then it just leaves my brain, and then it doesn't exist anymore. So,
gotcha. Is there other stuff that we didn't talk about that you wanted to bring up or you wanted to talk about that we missed? I think we're going to have you back for a second one because I feel like there's so much we didn't get into.
Darn it, a second one.
We still have plenty of time, but I want to make sure that these guys get to ask their questions because I know there are a lot of our friends were super excited that you were going to be on, and they had a bunch of stuff they wanted to ask you. So, but is there anything else that we didn't really touch on that you'd like to tell us about yourself that you think is sort of important or something you're proud of in your life or anything like that?
Well, I mean, Kane was the big thing. Kane was the big thing I was going to reveal. Very proud of, where I'm at with him and all I've done and all that stuff. Kane, Nathan's also, I'm very proud of Nathan for, stepping up and being Kane's dad. Because he's Kane's dad. We said after we get married, I'll probably hyphenate my last name so that I can still have that connection with Kane. And actually, Kane's biological father is not even on his birth certificate. Like, he's not in the picture at all. I haven't talked to him since moving out of that apartment. I don't even collect child support from him. Like, I have nothing to do with him.
Gotcha.
So we would say that we would probably put,
huge kudos to Nathan as well for stepping up like that, because that is amazing.
Yeah. But we said after we get married, we'll probably put Nathan's name on his birth certificate as his father.
I do see that Steven said he was an 11-pound baby, and I didn't want to get into that too much, but my youngest son was 10 pounds, and my wife had a C-section with the first one. She had nothing with the second. With my daughter, she had nothing. She didn't have an epidural. She was 100% natural. And she was actually in the bed. The doctor came in and checked on her and said, okay, it looks like, it's getting close. She's got about a half an hour window. If she wants that epidural, we've got to do it now or it's not going to happen. So I told her that. And she thought I was saying, you're going to have an epidural. I don't know why. I would never do that. But she thought I was telling her that. So she said, she started shaking her head and she goes, I've got to push. And my daughter was born just a few minutes later. The doctor was down there. He's like, whoa. And she said, no, you're not making me do this. So she had our daughter. She made it happen. Oh my God. She's an amazing woman.
Oh my gosh. I was going to say, so I never actually said how big Kane was. He was 9 pounds, 3 ounces.
Okay.
So he was still a big boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
our youngest was 10 pounds even. They kept getting bigger. They kept getting bigger. My oldest son was like 7 something. He was like 22 inches long. And then my daughter was like 8 pounds something. And then Aiden was just over 10 pounds. And he was super long too. And now he's like 6'4" and 250 pounds. So he's a big boy. Okay. If there's nothing else that you want to talk about, we'll go ahead and jump in. I want to hit the super chats real quick.
Yes.
This one's really good. It's from our friend Bex. She says, I can't stay, but I want to say Gina is amazing. Super mom, superwoman, all around pillar of strength. We are lucky to have her in our community.
Thank you.
And that
I kept saying that people who, whenever I was kind of building up to this, I was like, yeah, I'm going to reveal something, but people who have found me on Facebook probably already know. But if you have questions, now's the time to ask. So Stephen was the first one. Stephen and Kenny, ABC Biotopes, were the first ones who found me on Facebook. And then everyone kind of found me through them. So.
Gotcha. And Stephen did a $5 super chat. He said, shout out to Supermom Gina and Nathan for stepping up. Again, thank you so much. And I'm skipping all down through it. And so, there's so many people here, 65 people watching. Thank you guys so much for coming in and hanging out with us. I'm going to scroll down because I saw another super chat. There we go. Kelly Foreman, the foremost Kelly. She was kind of hoping Gina was going to reveal she's a secret billionaire. Love you, girlfriend. Love you, girlfriend.
Love you, awesome. Girlfriend. Thank you. She said that during your stream earlier. She's like, I hope you're a secret billionaire. I was like, I wish.
Okay, so we're gonna start. Right here, Mark Sturlson is doing the Myrtle question, and I know you know what it is. And let's see, that was at 8:17 my time. So you see the one from Mark. People in the chat, if you ask a question or said something before that, that's where we're at. So anything before that, I didn't even see at all. Again, I had the chat minimized just so I didn't get distracted by it. So that's where we're going to start. Man, and I'm going to have a really tough time with that. So you remember the Myrtle question, right?
That's the one we think of something about the other to change. If we could change something about the other. Okay.
Yeah.
I tried not to think about this. You've already
been thinking of these.
I tried not to.
Okay.
I tried not to.
Because I know we were scheduled for 2 weeks ago, but I was actually sick. And then Susie Q was the next week. I didn't want to bump her back. So this was actually supposed to happen 2 weeks ago. So you were all geared up to have it that 2 weeks ago. And then
I was.
let you down, so.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. I'm a true introvert. So anytime someone does you see those memes of like, hey, sorry, I have to cancel for tonight. And then you're like, oh, bummer. But then inside you're actually like celebrating. It's like, that's me. That's me. Yep. So no, you didn't let me down.
Me too. So, so what would we change about each other is the question. See, and Kane would be a choice there, but I don't feel like it is. I don't feel like, in some regards, yes, it would be nice for you to have a son who was, that didn't have.
I think I know where you're going. You wish that he didn't have as many special needs. So I remember when I was taking sign language, that was one thing it was a language barrier trying to explain that to my teachers, because my teachers were all deaf. Like they wanted authentic deaf people to teach sign language. Trying to explain all of his special needs and everything. They're like, do you wish he was different? I'm like, if he was only deaf, I'd be ecstatic. Like if he was like, because I wouldn't want to miss out on learning ASL. Like it's such an amazing language, and culture. I know what you mean about. I think I understand what you're trying to get at. That not so many special needs. Yeah.
That just was a little bit easier on you and him and Kane
and him.
Well. Yeah. Yeah.
Mostly the language barrier. Yeah. The language barrier is the big thing. So yeah, if he was more mobile, if he didn't have the
Just
vision
take a little
issues,
bit
like
off your
what?
plate.
Yeah.
You know,
I get you.
just take the edge off of it. You know,
Right.
because
Right.
it's got to just be so hard. It's just got to be so hard.
It
That's
is.
all.
Yeah. Something I would change about you. I kind of wish it for everybody, but I know you really struggle with it. But like your depression, I wish I could wave a magic wand and make all your what is that? Your
Stupid
pituitary
thoughts.
gland. I wish your
Whatever.
brain was chemically stable. Like,
There you go.
yeah,
There you go. I wish I had more chemicals for my brain too.
the correct chemicals. I wish your
Yes.
chemicals could regulate correctly.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That would be it's been getting worse and worse, and I definitely could use a break.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Because I love you, and I do get a
Oh.
little sad whenever like you have to like cancel your streams and stuff, and it's like, oh, but I'm not mad. Like I understand because I also have depression and anxiety, but I'm just like, oh no, we go today.
You know, the depression doesn't make me cancel streams very often. It's usually, you know, rheumatoid arthritis is flaring up. That's most of the time. That's why I cancel. Not always. There are times when the depression does get a little overwhelming, and I just need a break. And I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want people to ask me if I'm doing okay, or I don't want it. I just don't want. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to.
You go to alert
talk
mode.
to anybody. I just want to go away for a while and put my head under the covers, and then I'll be back and I'll be fine and all that. So So yes, I would also enjoy to not have that depression on top of everything else. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Dolbeck, we'll switch gears a little bit and go with something a little lighter. Favorite dessert?
Oh my God, all of them. I have such a sweet tooth. Oh my gosh.
What don't you like?
Oh my God, that's a harder question. So if a restaurant has either key lime pie or creme brulee, God forbid they have both. That's usually what I go for in a restaurant. I'm not a big chocolate fan, like especially if it's super rich chocolate, like triple chocolate layered cake. I usually don't go for that. Nathan does, and I'll have like a bite of his, but I'm not going to order a whole monster slice myself. But oh my gosh, I love sweets.
And the key lime usually has meringue, doesn't it, on top?
Yes.
You like the meringue?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of meringue. I'm okay with it, but I'm not. It's not one I pick out. You know.
Lemon meringue pie. I love. Oh my gosh, I love it.
I do like key lime pie. It's just normally I like it with a very thin layer of meringue, which is hard to do. You know, because.
No, I think key lime usually has whipped cream.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I think key lime usually has whipped cream. I think it can have meringue, but I think usually in a restaurant it has whipped cream on it.
Gotcha. Well, then that's good.
Yeah.
Whipped cream's good.
Okay. I love whipped cream.
Mountain Greenery wants to know if you could live in any of your aquariums, which one would you live in? And I'm going to take that to mean like, you know.
Not that one.
You're
not that one. Not that one. That's for sure. Probably my shrimp tank because it's super chill. It's super chill.
All the plants.
I live in my shrimp tank. All the plants. The shrimp are just chill. The baby swordtails are just chill. Yeah.
Let's see. And again, hi. I see Melvin. I see Zenny, Dolbeck. So many cool people that came in to hang out with us. Thank you guys again for joining us tonight. All right, I'm scrolling down, and again, I'm looking for the @Rico stand, so it pops out at me because I know you guys are having conversations too. So please do the @Rico stand for me so I can see it. Okay, so Lady Rorschach says, "What is a book that has changed your life?"
The Dragon Riders of Pern series by Anne McCaffrey.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yes, the whole series. Oh my gosh, My dad, it depends on which one you start with. And I get you that some of them are very slow. So the original 3, and there are very slow parts. Like when it starts getting political, I honestly start skipping paragraphs. But the Dragon Harper of Pern is a good one. Moretta is a really good one in that series. Moretta is it's probably that's probably my favorite book in that series is Moretta.
I'm gonna give it another try.
Yeah.
Because I love fantasy books. I read a lot. I love to read fantasy, especially like epic, massive fantasy. That's my world. But I've tried to read those so many times. It's like Thomas Covenant, The Unbeliever. Have you ever read those ones? I forgot the guy's name, but I could never get into those either. And I don't know. It's just something about the writing I just did not care for at all.
Gotcha.
So I need to give another try though, because it's probably been 30 years since I tried to read them. So
yeah,
I'll go back.
They're good because each book takes place in a different timeline of this world. Like it's so incredible how expansive she got in the whole series and how, it's crazy. But yeah,
I know they're incredibly well loved. So I really just need to go back and give it a try. So you feel like those have changed your life?
That's what really got me into fan. So in middle school and stuff, I would always gravitate towards like the dragon, but I was obsessed with dragons in like middle school, high school. So any of like the dragon fantasy books I was reading, but yeah, that one, it helped me kind of get into that more adult mindset of, there's different perspectives. Everyone has a reason for why they do things. And yeah.
I was laughing because that pop-up just came. So Mark Strelson just gave us a $5 Australian super chat, but it had the A for the Australian dollar next to the dollar sign and the 5, and it looked like it said ass. So it looked like Mark had just given us ass. That's what it looked like when I first.
Oh my gosh! Is that him asking for another for a? Does Mark want a butt massage now too? Rico, you need to get onto this, learning how to give butt massages.
Oh, I know. We'll leave that alone. Let's see. All right, scrolling down again. I'm just looking for the favorite cookie. Lady Rorschach, favorite cookie, and working at a cookie store for so long, and that's for both of us. And I'm not going to be able to answer it, but I'll let you go first and see what you say.
My favorite ended up being the white chocolate macadamia, but I would also experiment. So my one of my old managers at the cookie store let me kind of experiment with the different flavors also. She said I could play around with it and make like an unofficial flavor cookie for the weekends to try to sell. I just could not bring in a new ingredient because then you have to get like Department of Health and all that involved. So I would make like the Reese's cookie. So I would take the double chocolate chip cookie, which is chocolate dough, chocolate chips. Take a scoop of that, flatten it, and then take a fourth of a scoop of the peanut butter cookie and put it in the middle, wrap the double chocolate around it. And so it was like a Reese's cookie. That was really good.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it was really good. And then I would do a couple other things like that where I'd kind of experiment with them, but that was a big favorite. But yeah, white chocolate macadamia ended up being my favorite, along with the regular like shortbread cookie that we, because it was cookie bouquets. So if you go to cookiesbydesign.com, you can see the cookie bouquets. So it's not only baking cookies, but I decorated the cookies too with the different color icing and all that. Gotcha. So, yep.
I could not pick a favorite cookie. I like everyone except anything with raisins. I hate raisins, but I've never tasted a cookie that I did not like. Even Mr. Beast gluten-free cookies that the kids got from someplace. They were like, I think they were like at the dollar store on clearance. That's how bad they were. Yeah. And they weren't that good when you ate them, but I made a big cup of hot cocoa and I dipped the cookies in there, dipped in the hot cocoa. They were good. That's the only way. But
so you don't like raisins, but do you like craisins? Like dried cranberries?
Okay, so I don't like raisins. Mm-hmm. So people know that I don't like raisins. So somebody invented craisins just to F with me that much more. Because raisins are here and cranberries are, to me, disgusting. The flavor of it, I hate it. So craisins are just, the
even
only
worse.
time I will eat those is we get, I love goat cheese. And Michelle will get some that has some of the craisins, I guess, around it in a like.
Do you go to Aldi?
Like sauce. Oh yeah, all the time.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. I love those.
Yes, the blueberry one is better, but I will definitely eat the one with the cranberries on it. Too.
Yep.
As
I've
long as
known to
it's
eat
no
that for
raisin.
dinner. I've known to
Yep.
eat that for dinner with a whole sleeve of crackers. Yep.
Yep. Yep. Same here. I love my cheese.
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, I just happened to see this one from our friend June. Hi, June. Only Oscars. She said Star Trek or Star Wars. But people, if you would do the at Rico stand, because otherwise I probably wouldn't see that. I just happened to look there just at the right time.
So I'm not against either. I just never really got into either universe. Like, and it's so massive that I'm almost overwhelmed to try to jump into it. I feel like we would almost have to do like a watch party on Discord for me, and like I have to watch it with somebody in order, like Brennan's really into it. So like having someone like Brennan or somebody with me to watch it to kind of be like filling it, because there's also like the books, and then there's the series, like the movies and all that, like to fill in the gaps, and it's just too much to jump into, I feel like.
I think you just start, you watch them in the not the chronological, but the actual release, so don't watch number 3, because that one came out first, right? A New Hope. Number 4, excuse me. Number 4 was New Hope. That was the very first one. Watch them in order, go through the progression. But you're right.
And I've seen this.
That's no fun.
Yeah, so I've seen the Star Wars movies. So I guess I am kind of into. I've seen the Star Wars movies. But yeah, Star Trek. My dad loved both Star Trek and Star Wars, but kind of probably more Star Trek. But I always watched Stargate with him. I never watched Star Trek with him. So yeah, Stargate SG-1. Oh my gosh, back the good memories with my dad. Back when before the wife. Oh my god, so good.
Let's see. Only Oscar said her favorite book is The White Dragon. So
The White Dragon's good too. That's the third in that initial 3-part series that starts it off.
Is Dragon Riders first? Dragon Riders of Pern, the first book?
I think so. And then Dragonflight and then The White Dragon, I think, is the order.
Lady Rorschach, hi. What is something that you wish people knew about your son to see? And then she says more, but I'm going to leave that for a minute. So what is something that you wish more people knew about your son?
That he's happy. I mean, even though he has all the problems, he's happy. There's no need to feel sorry for him. He's happy. I try to do my best for him to give him a good quality of life. But even though he doesn't have language, he's still happy. We actually were at the mall. We were at the mall years and years and years ago, back when the Mills was actually the Mills and open. It's closed now. And I remember we were there for lunch, and we were waiting in line, and there was this guy in a suit. I guess he was also on his lunch break, and he was in front of us, and Kane was, just giggling, laughing, kicking, being his own happy self. And we were sitting down after we got our food and we were eating, and he came over and he goes, I just have to say, I was having the crappiest ass day, but after watching your son, like in the situation that he's in, like still being happy, it really just put my day in perspective and realized that my day is not as bad. And so just thank you for being awesome and all that stuff. And I'm like, you made me feel a little warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is happy.
The second part was that, sort of like what you just said, to see him as more than an individual with special needs. That was her question to go with that. So yeah, to know that he does have a good life.
Yep.
Okay.
One thing also that would happen at the mall, because we used to hang out there, kids would kind of point and have questions, and the parents would almost kind of like, no. And I'm like, no, come over. What's your question? Like, no, come here. You can ask. It's okay.
They're just curious. They don't have.
Yeah, they're curious.
They're not making those judgments that the adults might be making. They just want to know.
They would ask, like, can he come play with us? I'm like, no, I'm sorry. He actually can't walk. He has to stay in the chair, but he can watch you play. But no, he can't get out and run around with you. I'm sorry. And then they'd ask the questions and all that stuff, and I'd answer, and the parents would be like, thank you so much. And I'm like, yeah, I have no problem with you asking.
Is there any physical objects that he's just really taken with? Is there anything
Towels.
that really towels?
Yeah. Anything too soft he used to hate, like, so really plush, like the microfiber blankets or like the plush blankets, he used to not like. He's better about it now, but Yeah. So instead of, those stupid baby burp rags that don't absorb anything, we didn't have those. We had actually a giant pack from Sam's of terry towels. So those were always his burp rags. So yeah, that's always what he's had with him. So he loves that towel, that sort of semi-rough texture.
Yeah, that tactile.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark, with the ass comment, was actually lemon meringue pie forever. There was no ass at all, but I see ass when I look at it. Even right now, $5 looks like ass to me. So that's where my brain. Geek Boy agreed with me too about Thomas Covenant. He said Thomas Covenant was one of the only series I stopped reading on purpose. I hate those books. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Only Oscars wants to know if you want a gold dragon.
No, that's too much responsibility. No. So, I don't know if you remember from the series, the gold dragons are like the queen dragons. They're the egg layers. They're the ones who keep the line going. They give birth to. So then the dragon rider of the queen dragon is essentially like the queen of the hold. No, too much responsibility. No, I'd be happy with a blue or a green. Nope.
Okay. Scrolling down again, do the @Rico stand for me again, if you would, people. I appreciate it. I'm all the way down to Brookley Bell at 8:35. So we're catching up. Does Gina? Oh, yeah, this is, and again, there's so many people that have their own traditional questions or
yes,
I shouldn't say traditional, but those questions that have grown with the show, because we've been doing the focus on you. I believe you are number 80. I didn't verify that before the show, but I'm pretty sure that you are number 80 of the focus on. So, we've started January will actually be 2 years that we've been doing it. So, there's a lot of people that have been asking the same questions on every single show for 2 years. And that to me is amazing. And I love that it's grown that. So, and Brookley has just started doing this. I don't know. It's been about a year, I think. Do you have any weird physical traits?
I remember your last focus on with Susie Q. You said about the whole eyelid turning out. I forgot I could do that. I haven't done it in years, but I am able to do it. I'm not going to do it now because I haven't done it in years. No,
I will kick it off.
Let's see. I am like double jointed in my thumb, so like the joint kind of pops out, or slip joint. Yeah, whatever that's called. I mean, I have joints like I'm freaking 50. They pop all the time. My sister was diagnosed with Adler-Delos or Delos-Atlos, whatever syndrome, where like your joints are loose all over and they pop a lot, and they like your shoulder. Like a lot of times, your shoulder will like just pop out of socket and pop back in. Very loose joints. It can be, depending on how loose they are. I'm not diagnosed with it, but I think I have like some level of it because my joints pop all the time. I don't know. I can't do the tongue tricks. I can't do that.
Ask Nathan.
Ask Nathan. Nathan, what can I? Oh, I can't. I haven't done that in years either. But like, I can catch my shoulder blade, and I used to be able to like pop out my shoulder blades. I think that's part of that loose joint thing also. I don't think I can do it no, I can't. I have put on too much weight. You can't see it as well as back when I was skinny.
I had a friend
I can feel that I can do it, but I can't see it.
His shoulder blade would stick out like angel wings, like they were cut off.
Yeah, but just the one for some reason. Just the one, not the other. I don't know. Nathan, what can I do that's weird? There's going to be a delay. Wait,
and June said she'll watch Star Trek with us.
I'm just weird. That's not the question.
No, but that's an acceptable answer.
Yeah.
That's an acceptable answer.
My personality is weird. That's my physical trait that's weird, is my personality.
All the best people are weird.
Yes.
Let's see. Barbara Jackson wants to know if you have a favorite anime if you watch them. Do you get an anime?
Yes. Oh gosh, there's so many. It's not technically a Japanese anime, but you know, Avatar: The Last Airbender is such a good series.
I've watched that. I enjoy that. That's
Oh gosh, but like old school anime, Inuyasha I used to be really into, but it got so repetitive. I gave up on the anime and was reading the mangas to finish it off because I was just so annoyed with it, with how repetitive it was. Um,
that's my complaint
I was
for not all, but a lot of the animes I watch.
that are
My wife
prolonged,
will
yeah,
watch. They do that, and it's my one
yeah.
complaint about. And I'm sure they're not all that way. It's just the few that I've paid attention
Yeah.
to always seem that way. Yeah.
A manga series. So we were really into mangas growing up. A manga series that was my favorite was Ranma One Half.
Do not know that.
I think at one point I had the whole series. I still have some of my old copies, original print copies downstairs. A lot of them between me moving around got water damage, which sucks. Because the reprints don't have the same binding.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah. My dad cut off cable at one point in like middle school, so I couldn't really keep up with a lot of anime. Like in Dragon Ball Z, it was right around the like towards the end of the Frieza saga is when he cut off cable.
I never really got into. I didn't watch that one too much. I know my kids were big into it though. Like my daughter, they used to play that when she was like in, I don't know, like 6th grade or something. They used to play that all the time. The kids would come over, and that's what they'd go outside and play.
Yep. I'm blanking on. I'm sure there are, but I'm just blanking on certain series that I really like.
Gotcha. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one from the foremost Kelly. What is Gina's favorite kind of salty tank? SPS, LPS, mixed, macroalgae, etc. I need to know. Oh,
mixed reefs. There has to be a mix in texture. Mixed reefs are my favorite. The combination of the stagnant stony corals along with like the LPS or the LPS that flow and the soft corals that give that all that mixture of texture like just complement each other so much better than like an all stony tank, like all stick tank, which is acros. And then if you have too much flow, it's overwhelming. So having like all softies and stuff everywhere, or all torch corals that are all flowing, or all anemones that are all flowing, it's just stagnant. But yeah, mixed reef.
Okay, so it jumped on me. Hold on. Okay, we got that one. Okay, Joel Beck wants to the Eric question. Eric's question is, and right after there, Scuba Steve asked it too. Yep. Favorite sandwich.
So when I first started hopping up on like Brennan's and Hippie John stream, Hippie John asked me this, and I got a very angry reaction from him. Burgers are my favorite sandwich.
Okay. Why was he angry? He said that's not a sandwich?
Yeah, he says that's not a sandwich. I'm like, it is absolutely a sandwich. A burger is a sandwich. He's like, no, a burger's a burger. I'm like, which is a sandwich?
I don't get all, like the hot dog thing. When people, I know most of the time they're joking, but some people get really adamant that no, it's not a sandwich. Whatever.
Yeah.
And what do you put on that burger?
Technically, Subway sandwiches are not sandwiches because the bun is not split all the way. It's still attached.
I don't think I agree that the bun has to be split in half in order to make it a sandwich.
I said technically.
I think you're still in the middle. You still got ingredients in the middle of two pieces of bread. Even though it's one piece looped around, it's still something in the middle of bread, and that to me is a sandwich.
No, I'm with you too, but technically.
And what do you like to have on those burgers? What's
oh gosh,
what's going on it?
It depends on my mood, but I'm not opposed to anything. I cannot tolerate spicy food. Weird physical trait. I have fissure tongue. So like Scuba Steve, we have those fissures. So like in geographical like fissures, like so ruts in the ground. I have those in my tongue. So the spice gets in there and like really burns. So I cannot
Ah,
tolerate spicy food
okay.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
So no
Good excuse.
jalapenos, no habanero spicy barbecue sauce. But yeah, I'm not opposed to anything else. I love pickles.
La
Excuse
la.
me. But yeah, I really like veggies on my burgers. Mushrooms, oh my gosh. So if it's like a
Oh yeah.
Swiss,
Oh
cheese
yeah.
and
There you
Swiss,
go.
um,
Yep. Yep.
never just
Bless
once.
you.
Never just
Bless you.
once. Um, yeah, so cheese and
Western bacon
mushrooms.
cheeseburger. I'm not a big, I mean, I eat fast food. I do, but I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
huge fan of fast food, except for the Carl's Jr. Western bacon cheeseburger, but with Swiss cheese and slices of tomato with those onion rings, that
Mm-hmm.
barbecue sauce, the bacon. That is the best fast food burger, and I will fight somebody who disagrees with me.
What are the
I will.
burgers that have the egg? I know it's a very regional term to call them. Like, what are they? Royal
I don't
burgers
know,
or
but yeah, I don't know what
anyway,
they're
having
called,
a
but I
yeah
have seen.
fried egg on or an
I've
over
never
easy
tried it.
egg
I
on a
would.
burger. Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
so good. You have to be
Is it?
careful. You have to be like over your plate when you bite into it because that yolk
Yeah.
will break. Oh my god, but it's so freaking good.
I've never had one. I need to try one of those. I need to
It's
try one of
so
those.
good. Over easy. It has to be over easy.
Let's see. So, uh, Lady Rorschach, to borrow from Alan Alda again, what's something that you really know? Something that you would be able to like teach a class on? Something that you
Besides
just
saltwater,
well, even saltwater. I mean, could
yeah.
you
So
teach?
I could.
I mean, again, I know a lot of people come to you with questions, and I've seen you answer a lot of those questions.
I mean, basic husbandry for most animals because of my knowledge from Petco. Actually, we would have like reptile rallies or we would have at the second store, since it was a higher volume store, we would actually have like workshops. So I would set up a table for like a beta, and then one Saturday for like 2 hours, I would have a workshop where I'd have coloring pages for kids, and then we would go over basic husbandry for a beta. Or during the reptile rally, we would pick a reptile and we'd have a workshop for basic husbandry. So yeah, basic husbandry for most animals, most pets, basic pets. I could probably do like a 1 or 2 hour class on.
TED Talk on husbandry.
Right. Dogs, cats, fish, reptiles, small animals, birds. Trying to think. I probably could do one on knives because Nathan collects knives, and just piggybacking what I know from him,
Gotcha.
like steel types and all that stuff. I probably could. I'd have to like review a lot before, but
what about something with Kane? A certain aspect of care or
sign
something
language.
with Kane.
I could do sign language.
Yeah.
Again, I'd have to brush up on it. I haven't used it properly in years. Probably since I left. We had a deaf customer at Petco, and he would come in and we'd sign and talk. But he moved. He ended up moving, which was really sad. But I can change a diaper really well. I've been changing diapers for 12 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's expert level. Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
expert level diaper changing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so newborn readiness, like what you need and don't need, and all those stupid Babies R Us store, I can point out what's crap and what's not.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Brookley Bell said you know what's funny? Nobody asked me my question during my focus on. Yeah. I
No.
wonder, we'll have to look back on that. I wonder if that happened, because like Eric's had one and you've had one and so many different people that have the questions have them. And Jay, Nano Aquarium Guy, said, what are your favorite mangas? You said you couldn't really nail down the anime manga. Can you nail down that?
Yeah.
Is there any that are
So Ranma 1/2, I don't know the Japanese name of it, but Snow White with the red hair. I've been reading that on online manga apps. There's a couple of good ones. Claymore is another good one. Oh gosh. I've been reading a lot of webtoons lately, not necessarily mangas, like official mangas. Lore Olympus, I'm not caught up on, but oh my god, I love Lore Olympus.
I got that too because Warren Ellis put out some stuff on there. He's one of my favorite comic book writers, even though he's gone through some stuff.
Netflix is about to do an anime for Lore Olympus. Like they're about to do a TV series, which is pretty exciting. Yeah.
And Warren Ellis also has Castlevania that's on Netflix.
Castlevania is good.
Yeah, he wrote that. He's written a lot of actual movies too, like the movie Red. There's a bunch of his books have been turned into movies. He's still even though there's issues with some things that he does. I don't want to get into it, but I still appreciate his actual skill as an artist.
Berserk is a good one. Oh my god! And if you think the Netflix show is gnarly, the manga is super gnarly.
I have never watched that one. I bet Michelle did. Oh my gosh. It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Big Shrimpin', what's up, Steve? He says GSP or Zinnia?
GSP, it's brighter.
What is GSP?
Green star polyps. So it's that green grassy that you usually see, that carpets. Pulsing Zinnia is longer, and it's that one that will actually pulse on its own. It's usually white or like a pinkish. But pulsing Zinnia is harder to contain, whereas GSP, like I said, grows in a carpet. You just kind of razor blade it and pull off that whole carpet, whereas Zinnia is each individual polyp.
I don't like that word. When you get older, the word polyp is not fun. Especially green star polyp sounds very painful. Dennis Christensen wants to know, who in history would you like to meet?
Oh, God. Oh, man. Probably Helen Keller, because she is deaf and blind and very similar to Kane, just without the physical limitation. Gosh, that's just the only one who pops up in my mind right now is Helen Keller.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
There's Melvin, and he's saying, Gina, Reef, have you ever watched the Divergent movies?
I did. Yep. Yep, I watched the whole movie series. I would really like to read the books.
Are those based? Are those based on animes? Or I don't know that I've watched them. They're books, aren't they? I feel like
they're books.
Yeah, I think Michelle actually read those. Okay. Scrolling down, and again, I probably missed a bunch of questions in there. Hey, there's Scotty. What's up, Scotty? Gina should create a presentation on saltwater, anything. I know a place she could present at.
Oh yeah.
Keystone Clash.
Oh yeah.
Keystone Clash. Yeah. Scotty's the Keystone Clash guy. Yeah. There's Mexicali. Hi, George. So maybe that's well, I think next year is sort of set. Scotty, I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. We need to touch base and see where you're at with everything, because Scotty had some very exciting news on stuff that's happening at the Keystone Clash next year. He's pretty sure. And it is going to make so many people want to go. We had a massive turnout this year from our community, but I bet you next year is going to be even bigger.
Yeah, because hopefully I'm going to be there. So it's going to be amazing.
You better. You need to be there. And maybe you could be a speaker. I mean,
no.
A presentation. Yeah.
I hate public speaking. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anytime I had one in school, especially high school, I had to incorporate humor to get through it. And it was funny because one English presentation I had, we just had to pick a subject and make however long presentation. And I had it was pretty good. It was a good presentation. But at the end of it, my teacher asked, she's like, "Do you feel comfortable up there? You seemed really comfortable." And I was like, I lifted my hand. I'm like this. I'm like, oh no, I'm terrified. I fucking hate this. I am scared shitless, but I hide behind the humor.
Yeah.
So she's like, it was
I'm
just
with you.
really good. I was like, yeah, no,
with you.
I freaking hate this. I hate being up here. Can I go sit down? Like,
and same with me. And my humor was always offensive and inappropriate. So many times I said stuff and I thought it was just funny, and then somebody would point out to me what I had really said and I was like, oh God,
Yeah.
I just, I just didn't think it through, even though it wasn't something spur of the moment. It was something I meant to say and I had planned to say, but it just didn't hit me. And
Yeah.
Mountain Greenery, she got your question. They ask again, if you could live in any of your aquariums, which one should we choose? She said the shrimp tank.
My shrimp tank.
What size is that tank too?
6.5 gallon.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So I'm scrolling down. Let's see. Kelly Foreman. Does Kane enjoy watching movies? Does he see that at all? Can he visually get that? So
his favorite movie, and I think it's because of the high contrast, has always been Happy Feet with the penguins.
Oh, yeah.
So that black and white high contrast, he always seemed to focus on better.
Gotcha.
But yeah, as long as it's a pretty slow moving, not too many flash. Oh, he also has seizures. He also has epilepsy. So that's been a struggle. Gosh. Yeah. So as long as there isn't too much flashing. So usually like Let's Plays that we watch on YouTube, I don't like to have them because video games tend to, have more flashing. That was a big thing we struggled with about a year ago, about this time last year, was that he's 12, he's going through puberty. So he's actually on 3 different seizure medications now because puberty hit and his body chemistry is changing and he was having seizures pretty bad. So pretty frequently. Yeah.
Poor guy. Cause
you
just don't even know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, and he had an EEG and, with the probes all over the head. Oh my God, the last EEG was a nightmare. He actually, right as soon as she finished putting the probes on, his hand got loose. I was holding his hand got loose and he grabbed them. So we're like, no. So we had to put them all back on. But it's not one local area because there are like surgeries that they can like disconnect parts of the brain that are flaring and malfunctioning or misfiring is the word. But they're happening all over. So there's not really anything besides medicine we can really do about it right now.
Well, hopefully they can get a handle on it.
It's better now. Yeah, now it's manageable. Now that he's done with his current growth spurt, we've got it pretty well managed.
Good. Let's see. Scotty says it's been a couple of weeks, stagnant weeks. Hopefully contract can be signed this Saturday. Okay, good. I'll touch base with you, Scotty, too, and find out. Actually, I am at the bottom of the chat.
Oh my God.
And that's perfect because we actually are at 9:00 on my time, obviously Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 9:03. We're 3 minutes over. Again, is there anything that you'd like to talk about that we didn't touch on, or is there anything channel wise or anything that you want to tell people? It could be promotional too if you'd like. Anything like that at all?
No, I don't think so. I think this stream was the biggest thing that was happening with me lately on the channel wise. So that's also kind of why I don't have a regular schedule and why I'm not on the Fish Fam Link calendar, is because things with Kane could pop up at any time.
Sure.
Like this Thursday, we're actually going to the geneticist because we actually just got the test to figure out which enzyme he's missing, and there's possible treatments that we could start. So I'd been fighting with insurance for years to approve for that genetic test. Finally, we were able to get in with a geneticist, and they kind of convinced insurance to pay for it. So now that we know what subtype he has, hopefully there are treatments that we can start. So that's what Thursday's appointment is. It's probably gonna be like a 2-hour visit to kind of talk about treatment options.
So what would the treatment, what would it accomplish? Hopefully, what's the end goal with that treatment? Is what kind of where are we going to end
So
up?
I don't know exactly. That's kind of what Thursday's appointment
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'm hoping it'll help with the physical, like the low muscle tone, because that's the
Gotcha.
biggest thing holding him back. Because like I said, he has a cochlear implant, but with him needing so much support, like his headrest, he knocks off the magnet all the time. Like he can't keep it on consistently to build language because he's knocking it off all the time. So if he can
Gotcha.
get the muscle tone to where he can at least sit up on his own in a normal chair, that would make
That's
all the
huge.
difference.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
That would make a huge difference.
That's massive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he has all kinds of supports. He has AFOs, which is ankle and foot orthotic, so ankle braces, which is a hard shell that goes on his ankle, supports his ankles. He has a Benic vest, which is a hard shell, like turtle shell vest, to help him with his core support whenever he's sitting. His chair has extra like supports for his torso and his headrest and everything. What else does he have? Oh, he has a stander at school to help him stand because his hips and stuff won't develop properly if you don't weight bear. So he actually has extra knee supports because it, like me, my joints hyperextend. His does too. So his knees will actually hyperextend backwards, and that will cause damage over time if you weight bear with your knees locked like that. So he actually has knee supports to keep his knees straight when he's on the stander. Lots of stuff.
And a lot of that might be able to go away with
right. Hopefully.
Gotcha. That's
if
amazing.
He gets his muscle tone. Yep.
That's I'm not a praying person, but if I was.
Thank you.
Big Shrimpin', last question. Bucket list saltwater fish.
Cowfish and puffers. Like I would love just an awkward boy, bouncy boy tank. So like the big like cubicus boxfish, oh my god, they're so freaking cute, but they get massive. You would need probably at least a 300-gallon plus tank for them because they get anywhere from 1 foot to like 2 feet. Same thing with a lot of puffers, like the dogface species and all that. Oh, they're just so cute though. They're derpy and they're so freaking cute.
Let's see. Is Rico drinking out of a bucket? Yeah, pretty much. My daughter bought me this. She saw the fish.
I saw it earlier. Yeah.
So she got it from like the dollar store or something. I don't know where she got it, but I drink a ton of water because of the Sjogren syndrome. It dries out my eyes and my throat. So I drink. This is my third one of these today. So I constantly drink a lot of water. So it's nice to have a big cup because I don't have to go to the cooler so many times.
I feel like we're missing a question from somebody though. Did Zenny ask her question?
No, and
did she come up with a question?
I have not seen Zen Ginger.
Oh,
she might have been in earlier before we started taking the questions. I do see one last one here from Big Cat. Does Gina's Reef believe in aliens?
Yeah. Yeah, we can't be the only ones in the universe. Like there has to be at least some level of other terrestrial beings. I mean, they don't have to be more advanced, like not that, but there has to be other life out there and on some level.
Sentient life.
Yeah. Sentient life. Yeah.
Yes. Of some sort.
Yeah.
Okay. And we are well past 9 o'clock. There's a bunch of streams still going on tonight. I know, Bentley just started, but you still got like Scruffy City. You still got a bunch of streams. And Mike, all things fish is going to go tonight because Eric wasn't able to. So there's still a bunch of streams tonight. You can check out fishfam.link and find all the people there. And one last time, is there anything else you want to say before we cut off?
No, sorry, I've been slacking on shorts and videos. I've been working on social media for work, so that's been taking up my videoing and editing time. We actually have a Fish Fam page. For my store, Marine Solutions, if you search Marine Solutions on Fish Fam link, it has a page. So if you want to follow us on Facebook and help us gain traction for Facebook algorithm, that would be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. We'll hit that. Everybody should go hit that up. And again, thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
And,
thanks for having me.
Oh yeah. I wish we could have even done it sooner. There's so many people. There's so many people still to get to yet. If you would like to be on the Focus On people, my email address is at the top of the screen up there. It's at rico@ricostand.com. Shoot me an email. Just say Focus On. That's all you got to say, and I'll add you to the list. I've only got about 10 people currently because I wiped the list out. I started from scratch. And again, there's no cutoff. If you have 1 subscriber, if you've got 50 million subscribers, I don't care. All that matters is that you're a member of the Fish Fam. And if you're here tonight watching the stream, you're a member of the Fish Fam. I want to get to know you. So, and the community wants to get to know you. So please shoot me an email. The Nano Aquarium guy next week is Mike from the Fish Tank Bar. Our friend Mike. So Mike, very knowledgeable fish guy. He's got a barn filled with fish tanks. That's the Fish Tank Barn for sure. So he is our guest next week. And then Ivy is the following week. And I believe that's where I left it off. I didn't schedule the other ones, but I got about 10 people currently that I need to finish out the schedule with. So Ivy from, Bunny Viper and Mike. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us, and go watch some other streams and spread the Fish Fam love around a little bit. We'll see you guys.